What is going on, Sports Insanity Podcast fans? Patchman here. Before we jump into episode 10, just a little background on today's episode. Due to some technical difficulties, we were only able to save the recorded portion we had with our guest, Jaclyn Murphy, from Friends of Jaclyn. So we hope you enjoy this unique and special episode 10. What a way to break double digits. What's going on, guys? Patchman here, and you are listening to the Sports Insanity Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and I'm Bill Murphy.
I am Lawrence Patchman Lang.
I'm Danny Boy Reginald here.
And welcome to this special interview. We got a special guest here today. Joining us is Jaclyn Murphy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
It's a pleasure.
You are the namesake and founder of a foundation called Friends of Jaclyn.
Yes, I am.
Tell us how everything started right from the beginning. We're all
Okay.
ears.
So I was diagnosed March 26, 2004 when I was 9 years old. Before I was diagnosed, I was a big athlete. I loved soccer, and when we moved to New York, I wanted to take up the sport lacrosse. And in our area, there wasn't really girls lacrosse. There was guys lacrosse was starting to come out, but girls lacrosse in our area wasn't a thing. It was in Westchester, Yorktown, and it was in Carmel, everywhere else but Dutchess, our little Hopewell, Dutchess area. My mom saw that there was a clinic at a gym, local gym, and she signed me up. She signs me up, and I'm there with 30 guys and two other girls who I don't really think they were there to learn the sport. But
Right.
my coach saw I was taking to the sport really well, that I was really passionate about it, and I really loved it because I was an athlete. I was playing with the guys. I would get hit with this ball, but I would just get back up and play. So when my coach saw I hadn't come back for a couple weeks, he goes, "What's going on? Did I do something to Jaclyn?" So he calls up my parents, and that's when my parents tell him I was diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor. He was in such shock, he wanted to do something for me. So he had a contact at Northwestern University. And from there, I didn't know any of this was happening, by the way. I didn't know my coach called my parents. My parents also didn't know that he had a contact at Northwestern and he was doing something for me. So a couple weeks later, I get this care package from this team. I go, "This is so cool. I'm 9 years old and a college athletic team is sending me a t-shirt." What they sent me was a t-shirt, a ball signed, some sweatbands, and some other goodies, and also a media guide. That media guide was the key that pretty much sparked everything off with my relationship with them. Each girl took her time to write me a personal note on either her page or half her page, and I read through all of those, and I saw that their schedule was on the back, and their season just started, and I saw they were playing at Johns Hopkins. That's 6-hour ride from us, and I begged my dad, Dad, can we go? And he goes, "I don't know." At the time, I was not feeling well. I had really low blood counts, and I was still really weak and tired, and the weather in New York, and on the East Coast, it can be sunny and warm one day and then snowy and cold the next. So it was really cold an April day, and I wasn't feeling well. I was feeling fine, and my dad said we could go, so we take the 6-hour car ride drive down to Johns Hopkins. And on the way down there, I go, "Dad, is there any way I can meet the team? He goes, "We'll see." I fall asleep in the car, and we pull in to this hotel. I go, "Dad, where are we? Are we lost?" My dad has a bad reputation of getting lost constantly. So I'm like, "Are we lost?" He goes, "No, you're going to meet the team." I go, "Wait, what?" So I got to meet the team for the first time at their pregame dinner, and I got to meet every girl, each girl introduced where she was from, what position she played, and gave me her name. And then I introduced myself, and I told them my story for the first time ever. And it felt really good. I told them what I've been going through. I just made my Make-A-Wish and all this fun stuff. So they're like, Jaclyn, do you want to come on the bus and like travel with us to the game? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I got to travel with them to the bus. Like, it was like a 5-minute drive from the hotel to the field, and I got to see them warm up. And then once the game started, they set me up in a press box because it was a cold, like I said, cold April night. And, you know, they ended up kicking Johns Hopkins' butt. And at the end of the game, the announcer announced the Wildcats would like to thank their #1 fan, Jaclyn Murphy, for coming out. So after that, me and my dad went back down to say goodbye, congratulations to the girls. And we exchanged phone numbers. And this is when I had a flip phone, not these fun
Those days, folks.
The good old days of flip phones.
The flip phones, good old flip phones where you had to touch the number like 500 times to get, if you passed the, So we exchanged numbers, and from there we started a relationship, a bond. So whenever I would go for chemotherapy or radiation or had my MRIs, I'd get bombarded with text messages this is also before Facebook was a thing. There was this thing called Caring Bridge, which is like a blog where my mom can write updates and whatnot of how I'm doing, and people can leave little messages for me. So I get bombarded with messages from my team leaving me, and then text messages, and they took my mind off it. So one day I'm in the waiting room of Sloan Memorial. I got treated at Sloan Memorial in New York City, and I'm oblivious to where I am because I'm in such a good, like, I'm in my own happy place. And this little girl sitting next to me in the waiting room goes, "Who keeps calling and texting you?" And I go, "Oh, my friends." She gets called in to see her doctor, and that's when I turned to my dad, "We need to get this girl a team." And that's kind of how Friends of Jaclyn adapted.
Yes, just going to go a few things because I watched the and I'm sure these two gentlemen, like I told them to do, watch the HBO The Real Sports with Brian Gumbel that you did with them back in 2000. I know the second one was 13. What was the first one?
The first one, wow, that was a while ago. I want to say that was back in 2009.
God, that is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I remember your dad said about the team, he said, quote, he had to get unlimited texting.
Yes, I had unlimited texting.
I honestly think that, it's just amazing how your experience, I mean, think about it. You get this invite to go see Northwestern play lacrosse, and they just receive you as if you're one of them, like instantly. It wasn't just a fan coming in and then signing autographs or whatever. It was, they are taking you in and they're going to keep in touch with you. That's so powerful for someone that is going through a rough time, especially someone fighting cancer. It's pretty awesome.
They were my big sisters. I still call them my big sisters. They were my big sisters in my support system. Like, I mean, my family was there, my sister was there, but to have these, like, I lost, sadly, when I was going through all this, I lost a lot of my friends because they didn't understand the concept of cancer. So they would, I couldn't go running outside. I'd have to stay in and watch movies and whatnot because my system, I was just so weak. So, yeah, so this Northwestern team became my big sisters. And it's funny because I still keep in contact with them. Not as much as I did back then, but I still keep in contact with them, which is great.
I remember, again, I'm going off the Real Sports thing, the first one, for 36 days when you were going to treatment at Sloan Kettering, your dad pushed you in and pointed to a picture of a lacrosse player.
You're going to be strong and get to play like that one day.
And the irony, I find this cool. The girl in that picture was Kelly Amonte, who was the lacrosse coach at Northwestern. Is that correct?
Yes.
Friends of Jaclyn, what does it exactly do?
Yeah, so Friends of Jaclyn, what we do is we pair kids battling pediatric cancer or other illnesses and pair them up with sports teams all around the country. We have three programs at Friends of Jaclyn. We have the Adopt a Child program, which is the kid who is inflicted with the disease or illness, and then we have so they get paired up with a sports team. And how that works is little Susie might like cheerleading, but we don't necessarily pair her up with cheerleading. We could pair her up with field hockey. Like, it's not about the sport, it's about that relationship and whatnot. It's so like it's really about the relationship and the bond with your team. It doesn't matter about what sport they play and whatnot. We're not about that. Yeah, there are some cases where some people would like a certain team and we try our best, but it just depends on, we have like over 1,000 teams on a waiting list right now, waiting for a child to be adopted to their team. So it's whoever is in our system, and we do it by geography. So I wasn't unfortunate to see my team play unless they were on the East Coast, and still that was, some of the teams were far away.
Like,
So
you have to go 6 hours to Maryland.
yeah, so we try to pair up the teams and families by like distance. So when a kid's not feeling well, a parent will do anything for their child, but we try to make it easy so it's not like they're going hours and hours away to see a team. We try to do it as close as possible.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, geography is certainly important because, when it comes to trying to find a program to go to, it just makes it so much easier. It's like you said, you don't want, children that are, ill to be traveling so far and for so long. So the fact that you're making it easier than you had, and obviously you were grateful for the experience that you had, but, the fact that you're trying to make it easier for these kids is absolutely amazing and very much needed. You said that you have a full team list that it's on, like, we're waiting and trying to get someone to be their friends and stuff. Sometimes can that process be random, or do these children actually have a choice as to who they would want? Like, is there like a process beyond that?
So the process is teams sign up on our website. Parents sign up on the website. Usually what we do is the parent like gets their name, their phone number, email, and like where they're from. And then we try to look for a team within that area. So
Gotcha.
I'm just going to do an example, like, because we're in the area of like Dutchess County. We have some kids who are part of the Marist Athletics. So we found kids in like across the river that we paired up with Marist. So something like that. Marist College basketball. The girl lives in I want to say like Arlington district. So we paired her up with the basketball team at Marist. So something really close like that. We try to, sometimes they live in the middle of nowhere, so the family does have to drive a little further, just depending on the state and where they're from. So it's not necessary where the parent says, I'm signing up because I want to be a part of Duke women's field hockey or something like that. Then we have Adopt a Child. Sorry, I got cut off. So we have
No big deal.
we got Adopt a Child, and then we got Safe on the Sidelines for the siblings. Sometimes, the majority of the time, the team embraces the entire family, but we do have moments where a sibling or siblings want their own team. Because when I was diagnosed when I was 9 years old, my sister was 7, and my parents were with me constantly trying to get me better. So what my parents did, what we call is unintentional neglect, and my sister went from family houses to friends' houses like a rag doll, just whatever. So we started a sibling program because siblings sometimes get neglected because the parents just trying to do so much for this child who's inflicted with the disease or illness or whatnot. So we have that, and then we have Jaclyn's Angels, our angel program, where it started off with kids who were not able to be a part of a team because they were in hospice and what we call ready to earn their wings. But then we branched it out. We branched it out to anyone can be an angel, by the way. We branched it out to people, kids going in for treatment, having MRIs, or if it's their birthday or something like that. So they get all these messages from all over the country wishing them luck for a happy birthday or whatnot.
So even if you can't be a part of them physically, they can still reach out to you no matter what.
Yes, exactly. So if someone's when you're in hospice, you have to stay there. You can't leave your room. So to get these messages really will brighten up your day. If you guys saw the first HBO, you saw that little girl, Devin Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
She was going down. She was getting ready to earn her wings, and my dad made a phone call and messages to all these coaches that we were a part of, and they sent emails and text messages to this family, the Lambs.
That's phenomenal, and you know it's hard, and especially with the one with about the siblings, and it can be very emotional time for a lot of families, and it can be very hard. So having that program for siblings that may not feel like they're left out, that's also pretty cool, and I think it's amazing what you guys are doing. I actually watched the second feature on HBO, and I got teary-eyed a little bit. It got to me only because, first of all, the person that was featured had special needs along with cancer.
Yes, Moo. It's crazy because we've come across a lot of people who have Down. We've had a couple of cases where kids have Down syndrome and a brain tumor or cancer, or we've had triplets who have all had cancer. Actually,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
we've come across a lot, and it's sad, but to see that child's face light up when they're with their team on the field or on the court or whatnot, it gives them so much. It just to see that smile and to see that parent teary-eyed because they're seeing their child not in pain is priceless.
It really does brighten the kid up, and it makes them forget about what they're going through, just even if it's just for a bit. And what I really like, it's not just on the field, it's also off the field.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
when I saw the second HBO thing, sorry we keep bringing that up, but that was our point of reference. Second HBO special with Moo, and the team's coming over for dinner and holiday stuff. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
Some of the relationships with the teams and the adoptees, it's just so powerful because every team is so different and it's so special to see. And we're in like 35 different sports. We're branching out into the arts. We have an a cappella group. We have a surfer, Dylan Perillo. He's a pro surfer and he follows the sun for a living, which is so cool. But cool thing is because we have the West Point parachute team.
Wow.
Which is really cool. So we're branching out into the arts because not everybody likes sports, or we have this boy, Sterling. I'm not going to say he's little because he's not little anymore, but into my eyes, I've known him since he's 2 and he's going to be, I think, maybe 18.
Wow.
Yeah. He's blind. So we paired him up with the Yale men's lacrosse team with his brother, but that didn't really work out too well just because he couldn't see. So he wanted something with music. So we hooked him up with the Whiffin' Poofs, which is the men's a cappella group at Yale. And what these kids do in their junior year is they take a sabbatical and they get to travel the world and sing.
That's amazing.
So we get to, it's really cool because it's not just sports, it's also the arts and all this stuff.
That concludes part 1 of our interview with Jaclyn Murphy. Just a reminder, you can listen to us on a wide range of social outlets. We are on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Podbean. To find us, it's simple. You just got to search Sports Insanity Podcast and we'll come up where you can find today's interview and also our past. Now let's jump back in to part 2 of our interview with Jaclyn Murphy.
Yeah, I mean, that was sort of like what I was going to go off of, because I know a lot of it seems to be very sport oriented, but, you know, kids may like different areas as well. So I think it's kind of cool. Like, have you reached out to like theater groups or, you know, maybe dance clubs or all that type of stuff?
So we've had cheerleading and gymnastics, dance. Actually, at the Maris Dance Club adopted a sibling a couple years ago. So yeah, we don't turn anything down. So if whoever approaches us, we go to them. Like, we talk to them saying, are they really into this? Because sometimes the teams embrace it, but not to the, sometimes it doesn't work out. Just depends on the situation, I should say.
Okay, here's a question, because I think you may have you said like it may not be the specific sport, but what is like the most requested sport? I know that sounds like a simple question, but
It's not, because no one requests sports.
Oh, okay.
So if you think about it like that, it's like I said, we're in 35 plus different sports. You know, we have ultimate golf. We have the, like I said, the West Point parachute team. So we're all over the place with sports. So there's not really a specific requested team.
You know, in today's current situation with the COVID-19, apparently it's very difficult for the kids to be in touch with the teams right now because the future of college sports for the 2020-2021 season is uncertain right now. Because, like, for example, out in the state of California, they suspended on-campus classes until January, and that's going to affect sports too. Are there ways that the kids are are keeping in touch with the teams like now during all this, or?
So since this whole thing's happened, we've actually been, usually the whole process is, before COVID, me and my dad will go to these schools and these families would come and I'll tell my story. My dad will tell about Friends of Jaclyn, and then a parent will come and tell the child's story, and then the team and the family just bond from there. But since we can't do that anymore, we thank God for technology.
Right.
Zoom. We've been doing a Zoom adoptions. So we have the family and the team and the coaches on a Zoom call, and I tell my story, and that's how it is. So thank goodness for technology, because these kids are compromised. They can't go to these games and they can't see these athletes just yet because our immune systems are compromised. We're not the normal person where we can catch COVID very quickly. We can catch anything very quickly. I'm speaking because that's me still. I've been cancer-free for 16 years, and I can, like, someone might have the 24 hours, I'll get it for 48. Like, I get hit harder. So I know some kids everyone's different, but we get hit harder. So with these Zoom calls and stuff and technology, texting and FaceTiming, kids still keep contact with their teams. Some athletes get more attached to their team, to their adoptees. Sometimes it's like one or two people from each class get more, like, really buddy with their adoptee more than the entire a handful who are like really attached, and semi-attached, and then like, oh, they're here kind of a thing. But they embrace their adoptees and the family. So With like I had that at Northwestern. I had girls who like really loved seeing me and talk to me constantly. Then I had girls who would just like check up on me, and then the girls when I would come to games just like, hey Jaclyn, kind of a thing. So that's how it is. I feel that I've witnessed throughout the long time we've been doing this for. So thank God for technology. That's how they're keeping up with texting and Zooming and Skype and Snapchat and all that fun stuff.
Any way to get these kids involved, because again, it's a really hard time for everybody, especially for those that are ill. So, I mean, it's again fascinating how nowadays we can pretty much stay in contact with pretty much anybody and stuff. Now, you've pretty much made this a family affair. Like your entire family is involved in this. Speak about how much of an impact they have been on you, as well as all the kids that have been a part of this foundation.
It's funny because I was diagnosed when I was 9. So when you're 9 years old, you don't understand the concept of cancer. So my make-a-wish, like my mentality throughout my entire situation was so positive and whatnot. So like for my make-a-wish was to be no more cancer, right? So when we started this, I never expected it to be as big as it is now. So for me and my family to start this and to see these other families get a similar situation we did, or even better, it just blows our mind. Like it's such a positive. We love giving back. We're not the type of family to receive. We love giving back. Like we love helping others. Like that's how we are as an entire family.
I actually had your mom as a teacher in my high school.
Right.
And I remember she would show the Bryant Gumbel
HBO special. Yep.
HBO special, and I remember I think it was like a senior in high school when I first watched it, and I'm like sitting there trying to hold back the tears, and she always, she said she'd like to show it around Thanksgiving because she's so thankful that
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just think like the how we affect all these families and have these impact. I'm happy to see I'm giving back, because to have that love and support from someone, from another team, like of girls or like brothers, is a big thing. It's a big thing that this whole process is so hard to explain. You just have to witness it yourself, kind of a thing. Or if you go to a game and you see someone on the sidelines and it's a little kid, 90% of the time, I think it's Friends of Jaclyn. And you just have to look for if they have a Friends of Jaclyn day, or ask like, oh, who's that little kid on the sidelines? Because when I was part of Northwestern, girls would be pointing, why is she on the sidelines? Why is she signing autographs with the team? Like kind of a thing. So it's really fun to see teams embrace the child and the family and bring them into games or pregame meals or after meals, or how the team will set up birthday parties for their adoptee. It's just a magical, a mom told my dad, Friends of Jaclyn is like a Make-A-Wish, but it continues, because a lot of kids choose Disney World as their Make-A-Wish. I was one of them. But you're only there for a week, and then once you leave the parks and that's it. But with Friends of Jaclyn, you're a Red Sox or you're a Great Dane for the rest of your life.
And that's very important. That's very important because this whole idea is about being a part of a team, being a part of something special, and making a lot of memories. So when you have that type of teamwork and when you have people coming together for a cause and fighting, and you continue that fight after that initial day, that's what's going to bring change to the world. when you change the world's not going to happen in a day. You have to do it in multiple stages. And, that's why we think your foundation is incredible, because you don't just stop at one place. You go through many, many miles of it.
Do you still keep in touch with any of the kids?
Yeah, I do. Over the years, it's hard to get attached to some of these kids, because when teams want to be a part of Friends of Jaclyn, we tell them it's a hard thing. You have to have the mentality, because actually, the coach, well, he was the head coach for the men's lacrosse team at Johns Hopkins, David Pestramala. He went through 4 kids. 3 of them passed away. So we tell coaches and the teams, you have to be ready for children to earn what we call earning their wings. And so in the beginning, I was really attached to some of these kids. And towards the end, I'm still very close with a lot of them, but it just hurts when you go to a funeral with a small coffin, sadly. But yeah, so I'm really close with this girl, Gracie. She's adopted to the women's Vassar lacrosse team. And then actually my high school adopted this little boy, Angelo, who's such a cutie. And I keep in contact with his mom. So because my my junior year of college, I lost 2 little boys within a day apart. So that was really hard for me. Yeah.
That is absolute heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's certainly hard not to get attached to some of these people, because their stories like yours are absolutely incredible, and they're fighters for sure.
Yeah, and that's a great thing about Friends of Jaclyn, because a lot of these kids will not be able to play on a sports team. Like the rates are very low to recover. The side effects of chemotherapy and radiation are just devastating, and then on top of that, and some of these kids won't be able to go to college. I mean, some of them do, but not all of them get to. So to be on a college campus and kind of experience that in some ways is really cool as well.
I have to ask, with some of those who go to college like later down, have any of them gone to the college of the team they were adopted by?
So, yeah, a few of them, but we have this one boy, Andrew, who is actually at UNH men's hockey. He is actually transferring there for this year, and he's actually the manager for the team. Then we have this boy, Joey. He's not going to Stony Brook, but he's going to a community college, but he works in the athletic department, and he's adopted to the football team.
That's awesome.
We have some cases like that, yes.
That is absolutely amazing. Through the time when you were sick, what helped you get through this? Was it Northwestern? Was it something else, or?
Well, I think what helped me get to this was all the love and support from Northwestern and my family. My mom was my rock.
It was fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, my mom was my rock. My sister, always was my sister. My actual sister, was also my rock. She made sure she took care of me like no other. She's always taken care of me even before I was sick. Through treatment, I lost all my hair. Because I have radiation to my spine, I'm 4'11" because I was 4'11" when I started, and I'm still 4'11" because of radiation. I have a hearing loss in my right ear, partial. My gait completely dropped, so I had to relearn to walk.
Really?
Yes. So I had braces, those braces you see sometimes kids wear. I had those, but they made them wrong, so I just had to relearn to walk. Chemo damaged my small intestine, so I'm gluten-free. Trust me, not by choice. I miss bread. And just little things like that. I lost all my hair. I had hair down to my butt, really thick, so I was happy it came in. It's not as thick, but it's there. So when I started losing my hair, my mom would brush my hair and the hair would come out. My sister would run it so I wouldn't see it. So little things like that my sister would do. Or my sister was the goofball. She would make me laugh when I wasn't feeling well. So the little things like that. So I think the key thing for me was having that really good support system being there for me and keeping my mind on a positive mindset.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. And if you think about it, 16 years cancer free, my God bless you. Like, that is absolutely remarkable. Like, how do you feel like right now in this current stage?
I feel really good. I'm actually I'm starting to get myself really stronger. Like, I'll work out here and there, but I have a shortness of breath and all this stuff, and I'm really weak. So I'm working with like a trainer down here, one-on-one outside, and he's helping me get stronger, like the athlete I was again. My body still remembers the movements, but it's so rusty. I need to dust off and get that back into shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pat, you've been pretty quiet throughout all this. You have any questions you'd like to ask?
I'm good with questions. It's just amazing to hear this story and hear about this great thing that she's doing.
Thank you.
I'm always the quiet one at this group when it comes to interviews.
So where do you see this foundation going down the road?
Oh Lord, I don't know. Our motto is live in the moment, play in the moment. It's so that's what I do constantly. I'm just living in the moment and playing and just focusing on the now and not really focusing on the future, because life can change in a blink of an eye. So just YOLO, live. You only live once, kind of a thing. So I would love to see Friends of Jaclyn be as big as Breast Cancer Foundation. You know what I mean? I really would love to help as many more kids as I can as possible and really get our name out there and just like see this thing really blow up. And I would love to see our Friends of Jaclyn logo on commercials or whatnot, see maybe even in the Olympics, be sponsored the Olympics or something like that one day.
That's an ambitious goal.
Yes, It is.
Imagine the whole world seeing your foundation. That's goals right there. That's crazy. But
So if anyone wants to donate, where do they go?
Go to friendsofjaclyn.org. Jaclyn is Jaclyn. And you can just donate right there. And we have a bunch of little tabs, and we have a donate button right there.
do you take volunteers for your foundation?
Yes, we take volunteers. If you want to sign up and be an angel, that's also a great thing. All you have to do, it takes 2 seconds to sign up and takes 2 seconds to write a little message, because you know how quick we are with our phones these days.
If you have a second, please go to www.friendsofjaclyn.org. If I know financially this is a hard time for a lot of people, but please, if you just have like $1 or $5,
Doesn't hurt.
Warren Buffett's money, just a couple bucks, just throw some bucks their way. We'll put a link to the website in our description below. We'll put it on our social medias too. If you want to know how to donate or if you want to volunteer, please.
Donation is a very simple process. I already did it, so you know what I mean. So it is a very simple process. So you can do this, okay? And you never know who you're gonna change, whose life you're gonna change.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's just it.
So Jaclyn, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I just want to close this interview by saying I think what you guys do is absolutely amazing. And quoting one of my heroes, Robert Kennedy, who once said, "Anyone can make a difference, and everyone should at least try." And Jaclyn, you beyond tried.
Oh, thank you so much. That's very sweet.
And again, friendsofjaclyn.org. Thank you so much for coming, Jaclyn. And everyone, thanks for listening. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that concludes episode 10 of the Sports Insanity Podcast. We would love to thank Jaclyn Murphy for once again for coming on the show. If you want to make a difference, and help donate, please go to www.friendsofjaclyn.org. And also, go find us on social media. We're on Facebook. Just search Sports Insanity Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at sports_insanity_podcast. Find us on YouTube by searching Sports Insanity. And go follow us on Twitter at Sports Insanity 2. We hope you enjoyed this episode. For Bill, Reg, I am Lawrence, Patchman Lang, signing off for the Sports Insanity Podcast crew. See you guys soon.